Okay, let's start with Formula One. Max Verstappen, right there on the left, wins his 9th win in a row. He's got 12 checkered flags this season for Team Red Bull in Formula One. Driving rainstorm, ton of accidents. This guy fights his way through and wins the Dutch Grand Prix. Ties a Formula One record for the most consecutive wins ever in a season. And they still got more races to go. And we've talked in the past that Team Red Bull has figured out everything in terms of aerodynamics, horsepower, tires, pit stops. They've won every race this season. Everybody operates with the same amount of money in research and development. These guys have, nobody else has. So Max Verstappen wins. The guy on the right, his name is Alex Palou. This guy won the Indy 500. This guy, really good driver. This guy evidently made a deal to exit his contract in IndyCar for Chip Ganassi to go to Formula One to run for McLaren.
Hey,
he spent the entire off season testing with McLaren. At the last minute, he went back to Ganassi for the final year when Ganassi said, I'm not letting you out of my contract. You've got to run for me this year. And Alex has run very well. But Alex had committed to a contract that included upfront signing bonus money to kick in 2025. Oh. Now he says he's not coming. And McLaren has filed a $30 million lawsuit against Palou and Ganassi Racing for breach of contract. And they've said, we spent millions, like in 10 million, research, development, testing, cost, the bonus we gave him.
Yeah.
And he signed to come. And now he's backed out. That story just broke over the weekend. This is pretty nasty stuff. And Palou has kind of gone radio silent right now, doesn't want to talk very much about it. And the third storyline in auto racing, I want you to Google YouTube Daytona 400 crash. His name is Ryan Preece. Driving Saturday night in the Daytona race, got sideways, got clipped by a car, spun into the infield at probably 180, barrel rolled 12 times. 12 times. I've seen some horrific crashes. The one that killed Dale Earnhardt. Ryan Newman got airborne into a fence. It was just, I thought he was dead. I thought Ryan Preece was going to die in this accident. The whole car disintegrated, and he kept rolling and rolling because he was in the dirt and in the mud, and there was nothing to stop the car. It wasn't like he hit the wall or hit the fence, which would slow him down. Mm-hmm. This thing was catapulting down the track. He climbed out of the car. Now, he was wobbly.
Well, yeah.
And he walked to the ambulance. They put him on a gurney, took him to the hospital, observed him for 6 hours, and then released him late Saturday night.
Good.
The integrity of the roll cage.
Yeah.
Most amazing thing. So just Google it. You'll see it, and you'll say, how the hell did he walk away from that crash? So, I mean, NASCAR, the speed is unbelievable. They still struggle with the aerodynamics. What happens if the air gets under the car launches? That's what happened to him, and there was nothing to stop him. He just went and went and went, but he walked away from it. So what a phenomenal thing. But check it out. You won't believe how violent the top spin on this car is and how there's nothing to slow this car down. It keeps going and going and going. And he walked away. Just absolutely amazing.
What was his name again?
Ryan Preece.
Right. So Daytona 400, Ryan Preece. I'm going to look that one up. I mean, because, the technology in these cars is a lot better as far as safety goes. And yeah, he doesn't have a wall to run into, so he has a chance to survive. So good on the team for having that kind of car that can survive that. But I want to go back to Alex Palou. Well, on one level, it's like James Harden trying to get out of a contract. These guys don't respect the contract. But I do like the idea of this crossover between IndyCar and F1 because they seem like they could be similar. And, F1 is the big time stage worldwide. We're all Americans. We follow Indy, but I'd like to see more of, more Americans in F1 and more F1 in America.
Well, there's only one American team. It's Team Haas, and they've had no success at all. Most of the guys who have succeeded crossing the street have come from F1 to come here, whether that's the brief snippet of Fernando Alonso or some of the others. There have been very few Americans have gone from here over there. It's just it's a different sport. The demands are really different. The testing is phenomenally hard. It's all road courses, which is kind of different from being an Indy 500 driver. It's just a really tough thing. I mean, the Mario Andretti's of yesteryear, there's not very many of those guys that could excel at both the sports. And there's hardly any Americans at all that are even on the developmental teams. So for Alex Palou, I don't understand why he'd want to leave Ganassi, because Ganassi is marquee as it relates to equipment and testing and research and development in IndyCar. Why he want to do that? But then again, it is F1, and those guys are rock stars, and those guys make phenomenal amounts of money.
Oh yeah. That's got to be what it is. I mean, he wants to go on the big stage, because he's proven a winner in IndyCar. I mean, how many times has he won those races? I mean, he was a heavy favorite on the Indy 500. I remember we talked about it.
Yeah, he won it a year ago and finished very close to winning it this year until he got caught up in traffic and a bad pit stop, etc. Right at the end. $30 million. That's what Team McLaren is suing Ganassi and Palou for.
Wow.
Okay, it's time for Fans Forum.